Media.
Welcome back to Behind the Bastards, a podcast about the very worst people in all of history. And this week, we are telling the story of a fake bomb detector that wound up getting a shitload of people killed thanks to the idiomotor effect, and how that's weirdly relevant to our current moment in American culture, AI, all this good stuff. To talk with me about that, Ed Zitron. Ed, welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Now, Ed, you're the host of the Better Offline podcast, and how are you feeling about the idiomotor effect and people being able to know what's real?
I'm amazed by Clever Hans. I think Clever Hans is a hero who was unfairly eaten.
By German soldiers after he was murdered in World War I.
They were very unfair to Clever Hans.
I do.
Smartest horse.
It was just desperation and not a punishment, but it does in the articles read a little bit like because they found out he wasn't really smart, they sent him off to die.
You're a fraud, Hans.
Oh, man.
This is an iHeart podcast. Guaranteed human.
This is Dr. Joy from Therapy for Black Girls. A fresh, sparkling kitchen? Yes, please. The scrubbing it takes to get one? Not a favorite. That's why you'll love Dawn Power Wash Dish Spray. From everyday dishes to the toughest messes, it makes cleanup twice as fast. Less scrubbing, more living. Find Dawn Power Wash Dish Spray at your favorite retailer. Dawn is a proud sponsor of the Elton John Impact Awards, honoring those who have helped shape a more inclusive and compassionate world with their artistry, advocacy, and unwavering commitment to equality. Don't miss the Elton John Impact Awards podcast, available June 1st on the iHeartRadio app and everywhere podcasts are heard.
Hi, it's Karen and Georgia from My Favorite Murder.
We cruised around LA in the Hyundai Ioniq 5 and dove into the fascinating life of actress and inventor Hedy Lamarr.
Want the full story? Take a listen.
She starts dating Howard Hughes. And in fact, she helps him design a faster plane. So she finds the fastest bird and the fastest fish and sketches out a drawing of what the two would look like as a plane. And that becomes the plane that we know today. And he calls her a genius. Check out our new episode spotlighting groundbreaking innovators like Hedy Lamarr and Billie Jean King.
Presented by the Hyundai Ioniq 5.
Goodbye.
They track, they target. That hotel, those shoes, your searches, your clicks, every time you come back. Prices can change when websites know you want something. Look again and all of a sudden it costs more. And they saw you coming. Startpage, the private search engine, helps keep what you look up online from becoming a price tag. Nothing saved, nothing to use against you. What you search for is your business. Try Startpage, the private search engine, at startpage.com. That's startpage.com.
This is Matt Altmix from How to Money, and we are all about comparing prices to save money on so many things in life. I'm talking flights, phone plans, groceries, restaurants. So why wouldn't you compare prices for your next ride share? Taking a few seconds to check Lyft can save you real money on your next ride. I did this the last time I caught a ride home from the airport after some travel. Guess who came out on top? Lyft. Comparing rideshare prices will help you to save money every time you ride. Save money, check Lyft.
So, we ended last episode by introducing the Gopher, a gag gift that claimed to help you locate lost golf balls using the magic of the idiomotor effect into tricking people into thinking it was not an empty plastic box with an antenna. If you read the fine print at the end of those magazine ads that Sophie displayed last episode, you'll see that the manufacturer bragged that the Gopher was totally shockproof with solid-state construction and no moving parts. Because, again, it's empty. There's nothing in the box.
Was shockproof something that was going to be is that a common problem with...
You can still get one of those on eBay, by the way.
Yeah, I think it's that, like, if you drop it, it won't get disrupted.
Oh,
because, again, there's
sense.
Nothing to disrupt. It's not a product. It's not real.
For $34.99, folks.
That's a bargain at any price, Sophie.
You can get one on either eBay or Poshmark. Not sponsored. Thank you so much.
You could have all the balls you need. You know, listeners, if you've been feeling, listeners, like you don't have enough balls, you know, the good ball finder people can help you have all the balls. Anyway, I'm going to stop saying balls now.
Please.
One of the chief executives of the Quadro Corporation, who gave us the Gopher, and the evident designer of the Gopher itself, although this is a little unclear to me, but I think the designer was a man named Wade L. Quattlebaum, which I just, that's a good name. That's a good
real
name.
Banger episode for names.
Yeah. Great names in here.
Yeah.
Wade Quattlebaum was a former used car salesman from South Carolina. Yes! Who founded the Quadro Corporation alongside an American businessman named Malcolm Stig Rowe. Yeah! Malcolm Stig Rowe, Wade Quattlebaum, great names. Left and right, coming at you. It's awesome. So I have not found much about either man's early life, which is tragic because, with two titans like this, they both had been doing cons their whole lives. I don't know what Wade Quattlebaum was doing when he was 15, and I that will haunt me the rest of my days.
Getting the shit beaten out of him for his second name.
Yeah, that's
just
right.
The absolute crap. Just hit housed. And every punch made him like, I'm going to con the fuck out of all these people.
Every business meeting with Malcolm Stig Rowe, Malcolm just found himself punching Quattlebaum by the end of it. Oh, shit, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. I don't know what came over me. It's okay. It happens to everybody. I found, again, not much about either man, but when Quadro first started making and selling the Gopher, they initially put it out in a couple of small southern states, and it performs okay. It's like a reasonably successful gag gift for like Father's Day. If you don't like your dad too much and he golfs, maybe you get him a Gopher because they cost like $12, at the time. They're not that expensive.
Probably because the cogs are like 2 cents.
Yes, exactly. It cost like $1 to make this fucking thing. So this was not exactly the kind of business that was ever going to take the world by storm, right? You might be able to make some money off a thing like the Gopher, but you're not going to get rich off of it. So Malcolm started looking at the world around him in this new post-Cold War era, because it's the early 90s. And one of the things he notices is he's thinking, where else could I apply what we've got in the Gopher? Is there any way to make more money off of this idea? He notices something, which is that when he turns on the TV, when he watches the news, he sees a bunch of special reports on the crack epidemic and the war on drugs and all the dangerous things drug dealers are doing, how drugs are getting smuggled into the country. And when he's just watching like bullshit TV, every cartoon show, every like popular sitcom has like a very special anti-drug episode. And so he puts all this together, Malcolm does, and he's like, I bet there's money if you could convince police departments and schools that you can help them find drugs. Right? Like, because like the canine units are expensive. Dogs can work. I don't think he doesn't realize what a con the dogs often are too, but they're expensive and there's not that many. I got out of a dog search once, which was bogus. I had nothing on me. I just don't ever let the police search my cars, but they tried to bring a dog out. This is like 3 a.m. in Brady, Texas, and they couldn't wake the dogs up. That was the excuse I got for why I was free to go. I was like, we can't wake them up. We were going to have them search your car, but they're too sleepy. So again,
wait, what?
Yeah. I got that once. So okay. Malcolm, and that's to Malcolm, that's evidence. Stuff like that is evidence of the market, right? There's not enough of these dogs. They're way too expensive. If you could convince, you don't even have to make a real product. If you can use the idiomotor effect and convince cops and principals that the same thing that helps you find golf balls can help you find drugs, then you can sell these things. And you can sell them for a shitload more than you can sell like a gag Father's Day gift. But you don't have to spend any more to make them, right? Part of what's going into his calculations here is that in the early 90s, more and more schools are hiring school resource officers, and they're bringing DARE programs into their institutions. And where there's cops in schools, you're going to have searches in schools. And actually searching for drugs by hand is a pain in the ass, right? Especially if the school's big, and canine units aren't cheap, and they're often in heavy demand. So maybe you can't bring them to a school if there's no reason to suspect drugs are there. But if you could put something in people's hands and they can just walk them around and search whatever kids they were going to search anyway for drugs, then you've got a product, right?
Right.
Now, the problem is there's no actual scientific gizmo that can sniff out drugs. That doesn't exist today, really. People keep trying to make them, but we haven't figured it out quite right. They certainly don't exist in the early 90s. And furthermore, neither Malcolm nor Wade have any idea how to make such a device. What they do know how to do is trick middle-aged men into thinking they've developed a golf ball finder. And since most cops and school principals are middle-aged men who play golf, well, you can kind of see where their thinking goes,
fertile ground.
Yeah. So they changed the name of the Gopher to the Quadro Tracker, and they make some cosmetic modifications to the outside, so it looks a little more high-tech and expensive. They're bigger, basically. He also has paper and plastic computer chips designed and installed inside the hollow plastic case. These are
huh?
unpowered. They're like paper. They're just like paper and plastic computer chips. And they're unpowered. The only purpose is to like convince idiots into thinking it's real if they open it for some reason, right? So Malcolm Stigro and Quattlebaum and their partners at Quadro market this new drug detector to schools and police departments at first in the South and Southwest. Districts in Texas, Kansas, and Florida, so Southeast too, say, yes, please. And they sign up to buy some of these things, right? So as soon as he's like, I've got a drug detector that you can carry, you don't need to train it, you don't need to have a dog, and it'll tell you, basically it'll give you an excuse to search
exactly
what
you want to hear.
Right. Yeah, it'll tell you what you want to hear, right? So police departments and schools start buying. And I found an article in the Kansas City Star from 1995. This is before these were, proven to be complete bullshit. That gives you an idea of how the media covered the Quadro tracker when it first starts being sold to schools and police departments. See if you can identify anything that seems incredibly fake from the text of this news article.
Okay, I'm ready.
3 Missouri schools will soon be using a new drug detection device that some critics are calling a modern-day divining rod. The Quadro Tracker is a small 3.5-ounce black box with an antenna. It comes with a number of insertion cards that its developers say will detect marijuana, gunpowder, and cocaine. Quadro Corporation Vice President Malcolm Rowe, who is an electrical engineer, said the Quadro Tracker works by sensing the unique wavelengths produced by the molecules in controlled substances or gunpowder. Because it supposedly works through magnetism, it needs no batteries. The unit's technology has not been patented because the company does not want to reveal how the drug detection cards work.
Just a quick question. Said the wavelengths?
Yeah.
That came off the molecules.
Yeah, the wavelengths off the molecules, yeah. Just in controlled substances, Ed.
This is straight up this is how every AI company raises money.
Yeah.
Just like, he's an electrical engineer. He's an Demis Hassabis, who's the head of DeepMind. Everyone's like, here's a Nobel in chemistry.
Yep.
He wouldn't possibly just say a bunch of shit that he made up. History, it's like what? True Detective. We'll repeat the cycle because time is a flat circle.
It is. And hearing that, I couldn't help but think, like hearing this guy be like, we haven't patented it, but like it works through, that explanation, I couldn't help but think of the OpenAI, or not OpenAI, the Anthropic co-founder who spoke at that Vatican event and was like, we don't even understand the mysteries of how AI thinks. It confuses and surprises even its designers because it really is as miraculous as the human mind. Like it's the same sort of BS. Woo. Obviously, there is a real product with AI, but yes.
Except they specifically made it do the things, the mystery.
Yeah. This is much more bullshit, right? Because there's not even like a product of any kind here, really.
Yeah.
But you do see how some of the marketing bullshit is the same. And yeah, I do find it very funny. Like the idea that you're basing probable cause for searches on a device where the designers are like, we can't tell you how it works because then someone might know how it works.
Then they'll start changing the molecules.
Yeah, they'll change the molecules on us. I'll switch it up.
The molecules will be different. The drug dealers making the drugs will change the molecules to give off a different wavelength.
I hate it when drug dealers do that. Always moving the molecules around.
What are we gonna do? Then they'll do molecule science on us.
Yep.
Then we're fucked.
We can't
then
stop
everyone will
them.
have drugs.
Once they figure out the molecules, we're screwed. So 3 schools in Johnson County, Missouri, are said to have bought trackers for $955 each. So they're selling these things originally for like $8 to $12. Now you're getting $955 for the ones you're selling to fucking Missouri. Other sources show that trackers were sometimes sold for as much as $8,000, especially to law enforcement agencies. B.J. Hodges, director of safety and security at Shawnee Mission School District, was quoted as saying, "If it does what they say to do, then it's going to be a tremendous asset, not only to school districts, but to law enforcement." And yeah, if it did what it said it did, it would have been, but it doesn't. It's the Theranos thing, right? This is very much a Theranos thing, where they're like, well, if you could really do all those tests,
Theranos.
Off of a drop of blood,
But did they bother to do any fake detections, or did they
yes. They've got fake detections out the ass. Oh, yeah. Because they know where the drugs are or whatever. It's very easy to trick people with this shit. As we've talked about, we just went through all the different ways people were tricked in the past by this. It's the same ones in the future, or the 90s. Quadro's marketing pitch included claims that their tracker could find narcotics behind brick walls and at distances of up to half a block away. It could even...
What the...
my favorite...
What?
Yeah. It could even... This is my favorite part. If you want to think back to just what we were talking about a little earlier, they even were like, it can identify places where pot was smoked in the past, right? Which it gives you, it's the same thing with the dogs where they're like, if it alerts and then there's no drugs, they're like, oh, he had pot before.
But that doesn't make any sense because
right?
if it's where the drugs were and it was the fumes coming off the drugs, that means the drug molecules are not giving off the wavelengths.
Right. It doesn't make sense based on your bullshit science.
Yeah. I was with you until the drug molecule wavelength. That was fine, but now I'm questioning
That's what proved this is nonsense. When it's also just like, you're saying that like, if this will alert anywhere people have smoked weed. Isn't that everywhere? Right?
We're detecting several thousand streets in every city.
Yeah. If your device that you're using to search kids' cars in the school parking lot can go off just because people smoked pot in the area in the past, then you can never use it in a school parking lot. Because you know what's happened in every school parking lot in the entire country? Kids have smoked weed. You know?
Yeah.
Like...
It's common sense, I fear.
Yeah, so I'm glad I found that old article because these old articles do prove that at the time people didn't universally believe this crap. Both they give you the explanations of people saying why they are paying all this money for nonsense because they're idiots, but you get their explanations, which is interesting, but you also see evidence of the skeptics, right? And that's not, when I first started reading articles about these and I was like, how are people buying these? The skeptics were never brought up, so it just seems like, oh, maybe everyone thought this was real, and that's not the truth. When the Quadro tracker starts being sold in like 1995, famed skeptic and magician James Randi finds out about it, and he issues a challenge to Quadro, offering $507,000 to anyone who can pass a double-blind test of the device. And first off, we love you, James. And second, after that comes a paragraph I did not expect to read. And this is about James Randi. He conducted a test with Missouri Seminole County School District Director of Security Wolfgang Halbig, who was considering buying one of the units. With a known sample of marijuana, Randi asked Halbig to find the card for marijuana from a number of unidentified cards. In a series of tests, Halbig did not get one correct. Now, that just sounds like a debunking, right? Nothing sketchy about that. And there isn't about the debunking. Do you know who Wolfgang Halbig is today, Ed?
No.
This has nothing to do with James Randi. It's just crazy that he shows up in this. Wolfgang Halbig was indeed the district director of security for Seminole County. Back then, in more modern days, because of his experience as a school director of security, he became a Sandy Hook shooting denier and a regular guest on InfoWars back when Alex Jones still ran it. He was a major part of the Sandy Hook denial. That's Wolfgang Halbig. That has nothing to do with this story.
Bad.
He's actually on a good side here because he is, like with James Randi, he is busting the fact that this thing is nonsense.
Bizarre.
It's just funny that it's Wolfgang Halbig.
Yeah.
It's very funny.
It's also funny that he would have fallen for the tracker. He definitely would have thought this was real if James Randi hadn't saved his ass. I do love that too.
It's so cool seeing how history is just full of dullards waiting to be conned.
It really is. I love it. So, police departments in Illinois and Georgia made purchases of the tracker despite this public debunking. Between 1993 and 1996, Quadro sold roughly 1,000 units around the United States. This paragraph from the article I've been quoting from should provide some explanation as to why. It comes right after they describe Randi and Halbig testing the tracker. Tests and demonstrations in 3 other school systems, however, convinced administrators to buy the units. They are still drawing up guidelines about how to deal with searches of students' lockers, cars, and belongings that the tracker hits. And we know now, because of the lawsuits, these weren't real tests and demos in these other school systems. They were cons. But you see how the problem, like this is a really perfect encapsulation of the issue that goes right back to what was happening with those scientists who got tricked by the table readings and whatever, right? Which is, you've got this actual test that proves the device is bullshit. But then the news coverage is like, but other school tests showed it works. Those aren't real tests. They don't detail the tests. They don't say what happened. They don't analyze those tests. They don't ask, are those tests real? Were they conducted by anyone but the Quadro Corporation? Were they double blind? They just report 3 other tests say it's real, right? And that's how shit like this winds up spreading everywhere.
And keep spreading. They keep doing this today. This is the AI industry.
Yep. It's
Jesus
just bad,
fucking
lazy
Christ.
journalism, even when you had all the ingredients to do decent journalism. Now, Rowe and Quattlebaum had other allies in their quest to push the tracker into every school and cop shop they could find. Guy Lee Womack, an assistant U.S. attorney, used his office illegally to market the Quadro tracker after he paid Quadro nearly $14,000 for the distribution rights in Alabama, Arkansas, New Mexico, and Wyoming. So initially, it seems like this thing might be taken off, right? You've got corrupt members of the government who are like literally selling this thing and using their position to convince law enforcement agencies to buy it. Maybe this could work. It's never been a real product, but you might be able to keep it going for a while. As Jeffrey Stern wrote in a 2015 piece for Vanity Fair summarizing what came next. As Quadro Corporation grew, Rowe attended security conferences. At one of them, he met Sam and Joan Tree, a British couple with a modest and legitimate business selling evidence bags, fingerprint powder, and other supplies to police departments in England. Meanwhile, Rowe's device had attracted the attention of the FBI, which tested one, determined it was worthless, and sent out a teletype warning to law enforcement agencies. Rowe decamped to England and moved in with the Trees. It didn't take long before a new version of Rowe's device, with a new name, was being pitched to law enforcement agencies in England. So that all happens in 96. The FBI debunks the tracker and proves it's bullshit. He flees the country with the Trees to start up a new grift. And that same year, a U.S. district court in Texas hears the lawsuit USA versus the Quadro Corporation, which listed Raymond Fisk, Wade Quattlebaum, and Malcolm Rowe as representatives. Per an article in the 1996 issue of News Briefs, according to the indictment, the company marketed the Quadro Positive Molecular Locator as a detection device that used a chip to sense molecular emissions of anything from illicit drugs to explosives. Scientific analysis revealed that the device is simply a hollow box with a radio antenna attached, and the chip is a piece of paper between two pieces of plastic. Quadro has sold about 1,000 of the devices at prices from between $395 to $8,000 to school districts, law enforcement, and airports. Great.
I know how this works. So you were completely correct that this is the Gopher. It is the same thing.
It's the same thing.
But
it's the same thing.
They were smart and they gave it a gun handle.
Yes, you gotta have a gun handle.
You gotta have a gun handle
that
so
makes
that
it real.
Like hall monitors can go around being like,
Yep.
Call me Paul Blart.
Gotta have a holster for it right?
This was pre-Blart though.
Yeah. I wonder if any cops shot someone while reaching for the Quadro tracker.
I mean, probably.
Got to be one, or at least a locker. So by this point, Quadro has expanded the number of cards they've offered, and they've added explosives to the mix, which really gives an idea, like this piece of snake oil, the potential to kill a lot of people. Once they're like, it's a bomb detector too, you've escalated the human harm. Because if a drug detector fails in a high school, I'm not going to say, obviously, kids in high school with drugs, sometimes it ends tragically, but 9 times out of 10, if some kid is holding at school, 9 times out of 10, it's like a joint or something, right? And if they don't get charged for possession, nothing catastrophic is going to happen. But 9 times out of 10, if a bomb detector fucks up, right? You've got a much worse scenario here.
So, statistically speaking, is it worse if it's a false positive or a false negative?
Right. Well, I mean, that I guess that is true. That
Oh no, both are very bad.
Both are bad, actually. Both are really bad because false positive with drugs means you're going to get fucked up and in trouble and possibly have your life ruined over not having drugs, or having drugs. Either equally bad to me, honestly. Or with the bomb, false positive means people are going to think you have a bomb and maybe something really bad happens to you.
Or it doesn't notice a bomb and then you get blown up.
Right.
My biggest worry.
A false negative on drugs, not a big deal. A false negative on a bomb, big deal. Right?
Huge deal. Not great.
Yeah. Potentially world-changing deal, depending on where the bomb is. So the Quadro did play a bit role in at least one tragedy. Thankfully, not like what we were talking about. In 1996, the Texas Department of Public Safety called a search for the body of a 7-year-old murder victim, Carlin Smith. They used a Quadro tracker, presumably with a little boy corpse card, to locate him. I don't know what card they put in there. It didn't find anything, because it couldn't. And that's evil, because they're giving, the family hope. It's just gross to get involved with your snake oil in a search for a murdered 7-year-old, I think. I think that's evil.
And like taking it really seriously and being like, yeah, we'll find your kid. Let me use this box with nothing in it and a bit of metal coming out of it.
Fucked up.
It's got a gun handle, though. It's very serious.
It's got a gun handle. Yeah.
It's like Ghostbusters. But your son isn't a ghost, we promise.
Yeah. Or maybe he is, you know? The Quadro will figure it out.
Yes.
But you know who didn't lose their sons tragically? I hope. Maybe. No way to know, really. Here's ads. Guys don't like talking about ED, but if something's been off in the bedroom, you're not alone, and you don't need to wait longer than you need to take action. Getting real treatment is simple, and through HIMS, it's 100% online. At some point, you've got to stop blaming stress, sleep, or just getting older. If bedroom performance is in question, it's probably crossed your mind to do something about it. The good news, you don't have to jump through hoops to fix it. HIMS connects you with licensed healthcare providers online, giving you simple access to legitimate ED treatment options from home. No awkward appointments, no pharmacy lines. You just complete a simple online intake form, and a provider will review your information and determine if treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your treatment ships directly to your door in discreet packaging. To get simple online access to personalized, affordable care for ED, weight loss, and more, visit hims.com/BTB. That's hims.com/BTB for your free online visit. hims.com/BTB. Prescription required. See website for details and important safety information. Sildenafil is the generic version of Viagra. Viagra is a registered trademark of Viatris, a Viatris Specialty LLC. HIMS is not affiliated with or endorsed by Viatris. This ad is brought to you by ViiV Healthcare, the makers of Dovato, dolutegravir, lamivudine. If you're living with HIV, do learn about Dovato. Dovato is a complete HIV treatment by prescription only for some people 12 and older. Your doctor will determine if Dovato is right for you. Most HIV pills contain 3 or 4 medicines. Dovato is as effective with just 2. No other complete HIV pill contains fewer medicines than Dovato.
It is unknown if Dovato is safe and effective if you have HIV and hepatitis B. If you have Hep B, don't stop Dovato without talking to your doctor, as it may get worse or harder to treat. Don't take Dovato if you're allergic to its ingredients or taking dofetilide due to serious or life-threatening side effects. If you have a rash or allergic reaction symptoms, stop Dovato and get medical help right away. Other serious or life-threatening side effects include severe liver problems and lactic acid buildup. If you're female or obese, you may be more at risk. Tell your doctor about your medicines or supplements, medical conditions, liver or kidney problems, pregnancy, breastfeeding, or planned pregnancy.
Do ask your doctor about fewer medicines. Visit Dovato.com or call 1-877-844-8872.
This is Jenny Garth from I Choose Me with Jenny Garth. You know, history is full of surprising little details. And laundry? Turns out it's got its own fascinating story too, because not all detergents are created equal. Tide liquid laundry detergent isn't just clean, it's boosted clean for cleaner, whiter, brighter, and fresher results compared to Tide Simply. And those stubborn stains that always seem to show up at the worst times? Tide tackles 100% of common stains for every load, every time. Now, if grease is your nemesis, think food spills, cooking splatters, Tide's got 10 times grease-fighting ingredients compared to bargain brands. And it works in a machine, in any water condition, on all your machine washable fabrics. It's no wonder Tide was America's #1 detergent in sales last year. So if it's got to be clean and it's got to be fresh, it's got to be Tide. Shop now at your local retailer. Tide is a proud sponsor of the Elton John Impact Awards, honoring those who have helped shape a more inclusive and compassionate world with their artistry, advocacy, and unwavering commitment to equality. You won't want to miss the Elton John Impact Awards podcast, available on June 1st on the iHeartRadio app and everywhere podcasts are heard.
Hi, it's Karen and Georgia from My Favorite Murder.
We cruised around LA in the Hyundai Ioniq 5 and dove into the fascinating life of actress and inventor Hedy Lamarr.
Want the full story? Take a listen.
Hedy, she starts dating Howard Hughes, the aviation tycoon. Do you know a lot about him?
I mean, I watched The Aviator, so I know everything Leonardo DiCaprio has allowed me to know about him. But incredible innovator.
Right. She says he's a, quote, very strange man.
Oh.
But they do get along really well.
Give us examples.
I know. They do get along intellectually. And in fact, she helps him design a faster plane. She takes a look at what he's designed. It's got these square wings, and she's like, that doesn't make sense. And so she finds the fastest bird and the fastest fish and sketches out a drawing of like what the two would look like as a plane. And that becomes the plane that we know today. And he calls her a genius. Check out our new episode spotlighting groundbreaking innovators like Hedy Lamarr and Billie Jean King.
Presented by the Hyundai Ioniq 5.
Goodbye.
And we're back. So, the good news is the tracker was exposed and forbidden from being sold in the United States under court order before anyone got provably killed due to this piece of shit. And even though the FBI and the subsequent court case both proved beyond any doubt that the tracker was worthless, some users still believed. This is a quote from that news brief article. "I haven't given up on the device," said John Belter, the campus officer at Blue Valley Northwest High School in Beaumont, Texas, which paid about $950 for the device. "I don't believe the skeptics, the scientists, or the FBI. It may not work on the exact principles that the company says it does, but it still has some merits," added Betzer. Yes! Mike Thomas, safety coordinator at Blue Valley, uses the device as a deterrent for students and remains convinced it effectively uncovers drugs and gunpowder. "I did it myself," said Thomas. "I found hidden shotgun shells."
Wow.
Great, guys.
Hidden by whom?
Hidden by whom? Well, and also, like, this is just, you think that you're a good cop and that, like, you couldn't be tricked, and so you wind up defending this bullshit device because you're defending your own ego. That's the brilliance of any time you can sell shit like this to serious people, you know? My job is to find...
almost as if the more wrong you get, the more you double down.
Right.
Interesting, yeah.
And it's this thing of most people who are, quote unquote, searching for drugs or bombs, to be honest, don't have a real job that actually helps anyone, right? Not that, you know, especially finding bombs, that job is important, but most people who can say that's my job are just a cop who took like a class to get certified to get a little extra pay. They're not like an actual expert on drugs or on bombs or any of that. There's a lot of that fraudulent stuff in like police training. That's a big part of why. So not that there aren't actual police explosives experts, but look at how the LAPD, for example, handled high explosives not too long ago. There's some fun stories of that in the recent past. And I think that's what's happening here is some cops who like, well, I did the training on drugs. I did the training on bombs. I have to know what a real thing is. If I think this device is real, it can't just me being dumb and getting tricked by this idiomotor effect. It has to work because I'm a professional, you know?
And it goes the whole way round to being like, I know better than everyone else. I know better than the feds. I know better than these troublesome scientists with their fact-finding.
That's right.
These woke scientists.
Fucking wokey scientists. And one of my favorite fun little side facts here is that one of the school districts who kept using this device even after it was banned was the McKinney Independent School District in Texas, where my mom used to teach. They kept using this thing. Again, after the FBI said, don't use it, they keep using this because it's a deterrent, right? This is from one school official. "We're not looking to nail a particular kid. We're looking to send a message." Likewise, a Louisiana principal said, "I heard that there had been some trouble with it, but I tell you what, I'm impressed with it. And this is not necessarily going to be used to catch kids with drugs. If my having this thing keeps kids from bringing drugs on campus, it's worth its weight in gold." Right? It'll just scare them off, you know? Doesn't need to be real. That's a really bad attitude to have towards your job, presumably finding deadly substances on kids, if that's
if this is something you actually take seriously, if you have this thing in your head about how the dangers of drugs and all, would you not worry about not finding drugs?
Yeah.
My brain.
Concern that they can't find the things it's supposed to find, that they just discourage kids is really frustrating. So Guy Lee Womack was ultimately forced to confess that he'd used his office to sell snake oil, and he winds up having to quit the state attorney, and I think he pays like a $5,000 fine. The men behind Quadro, including Rowe, were acquitted by a jury, though, and found not guilty on 3 counts of mail fraud and 1 count of conspiracy to commit mail fraud. And I think the main reason why is that their lawyers convinced the jury that they didn't think that they were committing a fraud. Right? As long as they think it's real, and because all these cops are going up on the stand and being like, well, I think it works, how could you know that the executives are lying? Well, these cops are saying they think it's real. Even if it's not real, these people probably believed it was, and so it's not fraud, right? So if you want to know who is to blame for what happened next, because the fact that these guys don't get convicted gets a lot of people killed, mostly in Iraq, and the response is on the cops. because the cops stopped these people from getting arrested because they gave them a way out of this court case, of the fraud finding, right?
Jesus Christ.
Now, I should note, though, I did find exactly one cop at the time who identified correctly what was going on with this thing. The commander of a Jefferson County, Texas drug task force told the Providence Journal, "We played with it in the office and got mixed results. Sometimes we'd find something, sometimes not. Our rate of success was about half. I think it was either blind luck or a Ouija board effect. It's not nearly as consistent as drug-sniffing dogs, but there are no vet bills." So again, he's like, well, this is a Ouija board thing, but hey, it's cheap. Great.
It's cheap.
Good police work.
And it's not as good as dogs, which
Yeah.
are also kind of a Ouija board thing.
Yeah. It's all just Ouija boards all the way down.
Yeah, it's just, we're just Ouija boarding through our lives.
Yeah.
Please tell me it's not the same fucking people who do the bomb stuff, is it?
You'd hope, but it is, actually, Ed. It definitely is. So, while all this is going on, Roe and the Trees, that's that husband and wife couple who are selling stuff to cops in England, they're back in the UK repackaging the Quadro, which had been the Gopher, into a new form. Now, there's a little more opacity here as to like who made which new version of this device when, but from what I can tell, Roe and the Trees produced a new version of the tracker that they called the Mole, M-O-L-E, all in caps. I think it stood for something, and contracted a salesman named Gary Bolton to sell the Mole, right? Which they're billing as a bomb detector. It'll find bodies, it'll find guns, it'll find drugs, whatever you need, right? Bolton was a longtime friend of the Trees, and together they all formed a new corporation called Global Technical to sell the Mole. At first, they're all friends. But because the Mole was meant for sale in the UK and Europe, Bolton decides, like, well, if I want to really get this thing moving, I need to get a legitimate group of people who are attached to the defense industry to say it's real. And the best people is like the Royal Engineers, have this like team of guys who like test stuff to see if it works, right? So if you can get the Royal Engineers to say this thing works, then you can sell it pretty much anywhere because the Royal Engineers are very much professionals, right? So in 1999, he submits one of the moles to the Royal Engineers support team, and he asks them to prepare a report on it. Per the BBC, they found it was accurate only about 30% of the time and could not be relied on. Now, that should have been the end of it, right? Well, the Royal Engineers found it doesn't work.
Yes.
But despite that, that same article notes that several years later, like 4 or 5 years later, when his house gets raided, Bolton's home gets raided because of the crimes he's about to commit, police find 2 letters of support from the Royal Engineers in Mr. Bolton's offices. And he'd used these letters to pitch governments and law enforcement agencies around the world on the Mole by saying, look, the Royal Engineers said it works, even though they didn't. And he definitely had the papers from them saying that it worked, even though they're supposed to have said that it didn't. One article I found on Corruption Tracker claims that Bolton doctored the letters, but that's not necessarily true, because Bolton remains involved with the Royal Engineers directly for some period of time after they test the Mole and find it's bullshit. And in fact, after that test, they will help him actively sell the Mole. So I don't know that he did doctor those certificates. The first big hurrah for the Mole, it's interesting. We'll cover that more in a little bit. The first big hurrah for the Mole and for Global Technical was a home demo that Bolton carried out. This impressed a businessman named Jim McCormick enough that McCormick offers to help them sell the thing in Africa, Asia, and Latin America. Now, at this point, Bolton has started to get greedy, and so has everyone else, because especially I think this guy McCormick comes in and says, we could sell tens of millions of dollars of these. So all of the guys who've been working together start planning on how to go to business on their own, right? They don't want to share the profits with the others. As Jeffrey Stern wrote for Vanity Fair, quote, the group would soon fall out amid rancorous charges and countercharges. All of them went on to sell versions of the tracker, but it was McCormick who had the greatest ambition. By 2004, he was going around England with a functioning prototype, trying to find a company to manufacture a heavier model with a more premium feel. A series of awkward encounters ensued, in which he tried to persuade factories to build something they knew wasn't going to work. But by 2006, he had found a manufacturer willing to sign on. McCormick was no longer a distributor. Now he was a producer too. So that's what happens with all of these guys. There's going to be so many different versions with different names of bomb detectors that are all the Gopher. There's 4 or 5.
They're literally the same tech.
They're all the same. Sold to 20-something countries around the world, thousands of them, all the same thing under different names, right? It's wild. Now, we'll talk a bit about some of these other grift mole devices, but I want to say now, regardless of all the different things these names are sold under, again, this is just the Gopher. McCormick's variant, like most, used cards. You're supposed to load a card with the scent or essence of whatever thing you want to find, but that's not the only way grifters tried to pretend these things worked. Here's a quote from a different BBC article. Samuel Tree claimed the detectors could track down missing people if a photograph of them was placed inside, a technique he said he used to search for Madeleine McCann, who went missing as a toddler in 2007, and two other children.
No, not Maggie McCann.
It's vile.
No.
It's vile. Yeah.
So, if you're an American listener, Maddie McCann was a girl who went missing in Portugal, I believe.
Yeah, I think so.
No one really knows what happens. There's tons of conjecture.
Nope. Horrible
Of course,
tragedy.
some dickhead with a fucking just a metal stick in a box went, I'll find Maddie McCann.
Yep.
Also, this is alarmingly close to a power in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I don't like any of this at all. Use a photo to find a missing person. This is Hermit Purple. It's unbelievable.
It really is. So again, Madeleine is still missing, tragically. So none of this worked, right? But the fact that Sam Tree made the news trying to find her is really bleak, right? And he's doing it because it was the biggest story in the UK for a while. This girl going missing.
It's the most British thing I've ever heard. Some con artist.
Yeah. And he uses the PR from this to sell the version that the trees make is called the Alpha 6. And they sell it to the Egyptian government, to the Thai government, and to Mexico for about $3,213 per gadget, although it varies depending on who they're selling it to. Their highest value sale was $24,000. And over a few years, they're only doing this for like 4 or 5 years, they make $2 million at least selling these things. And per the BBC, they do it all while working from home. The Bedfordshire couple bought cheap plastic parts from China and assembled the devices in a shed in their back garden. These things cost like $2 to put together. They're just snapping them together and then selling them to like the Thai government for $4,000 or whatever. It's nuts. You love it. Good stuff.
This hurts my brain.
It explains how every con happens. It's just if enough people believe something, everyone just goes, fuck it.
And if enough people who have the right job titles say this is real, you'll actually kind of find it offensive that someone should test it.
Sure.
Right?
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Bolton's device, after the mole, the one that he starts coming up with when everyone breaks off on their own, is the GT200. And this is going to be the most famous of these Gopher-descended bullshit detectors. Bolton lucks out by the fact that after everyone else split up to make their own, drug detectors, 9/11 happens, right? That's like after they all go into business for themselves. And Bolton has connections to the U.S. government, and he has connections all over the world. He's a very well-connected guy. So he realizes as soon as this happens, everyone's going to be way more scared about terrorism now because of what just happened. And no one's going to be thinking, because people are not thinking in the wake of 9/11, I can sell these fucking things like hotcakes. I can sell these everywhere. And people won't even double check to see if they work because they need
paranoia
to be able to
back then.
Right. Yep. It's taking money from a fucking baby. The BBC describes his sales methods. Sales demonstrations would be rigged to succeed. Anyone skeptical of the devices would be publicly humiliated, and users were instructed not to open the equipment to avoid damaging the sensitive technology inside. We can't look inside. It's sensitive.
You might break it. Then how would we find the bomb molecule wavelength?
Yeah. The bomb molecules will escape. It won't know what to look for.
Every bomb gives off a distinct wavelength from the molecules it's made of.
It's so
And that's how we find them.
Yep. So some of the devices came with detector cards, as I've said, which were programmed. The fraudsters claimed to detect everything from explosives to human beings and even dollar bills through concrete, water, and from great distances. Fraudster Gary Bolton even charged the Royal Engineers thousands of pounds for useless cards that went missing from a trade fair in which uniformed members of the Royal Engineer Corps were paid to help sell the GT200, right? If you want, again... So the claim is that he falsified those things, but after they give this thing say this is bullshit, the Royal Engineers take money to sell it for him. They're like at trade shows shilling this and handing it legitimacy. even though they know it doesn't work. I wonder why. I wonder who got money, right? I've never seen that looked into enough, but it's very fucking sketchy that the Royal Engineers are involved with this product as long as they are. Now, I don't know precisely what happened here. I don't know if they just didn't know that the GT200 was different from the Mole, which is the device they tested. Home Office scientist Tim Sheldon addressed this sorta in a 2014 BBC interview after the scandal around this all came out and said the involvement of UK government agencies in promoting this is very embarrassing and awkward. Yes, it is. And the Royal Engineers weren't the only ones. The British embassies in Mexico City and Manila were convinced to back the GT200 and basically helped sell them to those governments by saying, yep, it's real. Sophie's going to show you, this is what this thing looks like, the GT200, this fake bomb detector. It's got a pistol grip. It's got this antenna thing that swivels around on the top, and it's got a holster.
What are the stickers for?
The stickers are so you can make your own detection cards. So you just put, we'll talk about how that works in a second, actually, Ed.
What?
Great question, though. What are the because there's sheets of stickers and like a jar that you're supposed to put the stickers in and like a substance in order to charge them so that it can search for that substance, basically.
And the brass card reader, of course, I assume brass is the best for molecules.
Of course. Molecules love brass. Everybody knows that.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So not long after this point, the United States invaded Iraq. Bolton starts working with another international salesman, James McCormick, because McCormick has better connections to industrial manufacturers. Now, in 2003 or 4, by that year, versions of these devices are in use in something like 20 countries worldwide by enough people that the makers had been forced to devise new methods for tricking their customers in order to make sure they didn't catch on. Users were instructed... This is my favorite part. They start telling people when they start selling these for thousands or tens of thousands to militaries, they're like, we can't just tell them to just walk around with it. We have to explain how they can charge it because they're gonna think it's sketchy if there's no power. So they tell them all you need is static electricity. So if you just, before you start your shift, each new guard, you grab it and you just sort of shuffle around with it to build up enough static charge to power it, and that makes it work. So you've got in like Iraq and in Thailand, all these like soldiers who are just like shuffling around in their socks with this thing to charge it up before they go out on shift.
Everyone do a little shuffle before they go and use the thing that kills them.
Yeah. So you shuffle around and then you go walk past like a line of cars. And if the antenna dips, that means that that car has explosives or whatever in it, right? It's a positive alert, you know? Now, obviously, these give a lot of false positives. And when they give a false positive, as they often did, the company representatives would either say, oh, there must have been a bomb there earlier, or they'd blame user error or the weather.
Right.
You know, you've got a lot of excuses. Oh, the weather was bad. Oh, it was that humid? Well, that can't work in that exact humidity. You know, you guys didn't know that, right? In 2006, McCormick inks a deal with a major manufacturing company to produce a much larger, more military-feeling premium version of his device, the ADE 651. This was directly manufactured for the new market that had opened up and liberated Iraq, which now faced daily roadside bombings and suicide bombings and had a real need for an accurate bomb detector. Very few places have ever needed one more than Iraq does in 2006.
Question, is there a reason it's called ADE 651? Does that
does ADE
stand for anything? Why are they
I don't think
what
so.
are they doing?
Automatic detection equipment or something, I'm going to guess.
Yeah,
but it's
that'd
like
be too logical.
It's just it sounds more military.
I'm just wondering what an upgraded version looks like.
Yeah.
What's upgraded about it? Does it have a second thing that lies to you?
I think it's heavier. It's heavier.
Oh.
Does it have a second thing that lies to you?
No, just the one.
How did they not sell like 50 SKUs of this thing? Just like they got this in pink for your female soldiers.
I think that's how when they sell one for like 30 grand, they probably just make a bigger one and say like, oh, this will detect plutonium. Like,
hell yeah.
But it's a little unclear. I did find how they, like, the instruction manual claimed it worked. So this is the BBC kind of summarizing the instructions you got with this thing if you're some fucking soldier in the Iraqi army. Number 1, a small amount of the substance the user wished to detect, such as explosives, was put in a clip-top jar along with a sticker that was intended to absorb the vapors of the substance. The sticker was then placed on a credit card-sized card, which was read by a card reader and inserted into the device. The user would would then hold the device, which had no working electronics, and the swiveling antenna was meant to indicate the position of the sought substance. So again, these things cost about £2 to make, but they could be sold for 5,000 pounds or so, on up to like 20-something thousand, and one of these sells for $500,000. He has to put that in like a big-ass box, right?
And so you put the sticker
by
a bit of bomb residue.
Right.
And
in
the
a jar.
vapors. In the jar, of course, because how else would the vapors be kept?
And the sticker soaks it up. Yeah.
How would the vapors be stopped from escaping before you put them in the jar?
I don't know how the vapors are supposed to work. Ed, I'm not really sure how the vapors are supposed to be functioning here.
Don't think they know.
I don't think they know.
It really makes me think that anyone could scam most governments.
I think I could. I think I could
sell.
100%.
Yeah, absolutely.
We need to go back to I think I could just sell the U.S. Army water and claim that, like, I prayed to it and it'll stop bullets. You don't need vests anymore. Just drink the special water. You know? I only got to sell a few of them at the prices the Army's going to pay.
Superior hydration mechanisms for advanced war fighters, and it's just water.
Yeah. War water.
War water. Water.
This ad is brought to you by Vive Healthcare, the makers of Dovato, dolutegravir, lamivudine. If you're living with HIV, do learn about Dovato. Dovato is a complete HIV treatment by prescription only for some people 12 and older. Your doctor will determine if Dovato is right for you. Most HIV pills contain 3 or 4 medicines. Dovato is as effective with just 2. No other complete HIV pill contains fewer medicines than Dovato.
It is unknown if Dovato is safe and effective if you have HIV and hepatitis B. If you have Hep B, don't stop Dovato without talking to your doctor, as it may get worse or harder to treat. Don't take Dovato if you're allergic to its ingredients or taking dofetilide due to serious or life-threatening side effects. If you have a rash or allergic reaction symptoms, stop Dovato and get medical help right away. Other serious or life-threatening side effects include severe liver problems and lactic acid buildup. If you're female or obese, you may be more at risk. Tell your doctor about your medicines or supplements, medical conditions, liver or kidney problems, pregnancy, breastfeeding, or planned pregnancy.
Do ask your doctor about fewer medicines. Visit Dovato.com or call 1-877-844-8872.
This is Jenny Garth from I Choose Me with Jenny Garth. You know, history is full of surprising little details. And laundry? Turns out it's got its own fascinating story too. Because not all detergents are created equal. Tide liquid laundry detergent isn't just clean, it's boosted clean. For cleaner, whiter, brighter, and fresher results compared to Tide Simply. And those stubborn stains that always seem to show up at the worst times? Tide tackles 100% of common stains for every load, every time. Now, if grease is your nemesis, think food spills, cooking splatters, Tide's got 10 times grease-fighting ingredients compared to bargain brands. And it works in a machine, in any water condition, on all your machine washable fabrics. It's no wonder Tide was America's #1 detergent in sales last year. So if it's got to be clean and it's got to be fresh, it's got to be Tide. Shop now at your local retailer. Tide is a proud sponsor of the Elton John Impact Awards, honoring those who have helped shape a more inclusive and compassionate world with their artistry, advocacy, and unwavering commitment to equality. You won't want to miss the Elton John Impact Awards podcast, available on June 1st on the iHeartRadio app and everywhere podcasts are heard.
Hi, it's Karen and Georgia from My Favorite Murder.
We cruised around LA in the Hyundai Ioniq 5 and dove into the fascinating life of actress and inventor Hedy Lamarr.
Want the full story? Take a listen.
Hedy, she starts dating Howard Hughes, the aviation tycoon. Do you know a lot about him?
I mean, I watched The Aviator, so I know everything Leonardo DiCaprio has allowed me to know about him. But incredible innovator.
Right. She says he's a, quote, very strange man.
Oh.
But they do get along really well.
Give us examples.
I know. They do get along intellectually. And in fact, she helps him design a faster plane. She takes a look at what he's designed. It's got these square wings, and she's like, that doesn't make sense. And so she finds the fastest bird and the fastest fish and sketches out a drawing of like what the two would look like as a plane. And that becomes the plane that we know today. And he calls her a genius. Check out our new episode spotlighting groundbreaking innovators like Hedy Lamarr and Billie Jean King.
Presented by the Hyundai Ioniq 5.
Goodbye.
AI has taken over the internet. Wrong answers, made-up facts. You ask a simple question and get a generated essay nobody asked for. Technology trying to decide for you and still getting it wrong. The internet didn't used to be this way. When you just want to search anything online and find what you need, Startpage is the private search engine that keeps it simple. Real links, less noise, and we don't keep track of what you asked. Try Startpage at startpage.com. That's startpage.com.
So the fact that these things now look as expensive as military-grade gear made them sell like it. That's why they're getting more money. And the new Iraqi government goes gaga for these devices. One of the gross things initially in early reporting is the news will write about this as if, oh, they just are too dumb. They didn't know that it was fake because they got tricked. They're not tricked. The Iraqi government doesn't buy these because the Iraqi government is tricked. The Iraqi government buys a bunch of these because they're bribed. All of the people buying anything for the Iraqi military are corrupt because every single Iraqi government official in this period is hideously and horribly corrupt, and that's basically still true today. These are not being bought because they really think they're real. McCormick and Bolton are saying hey, it's your job to buy these for the Iraqi army. Here's several $1 million, and then they'll buy a bunch, right? That's what's happening. They're not idiots. They're corrupt, right?
Right.
Iraq becomes the number one buyer worldwide for fake bomb detectors in the space of a few years, spending more than £53 million on no less than 5,000 of these devices, making the worldwide sales value of the ADE 651 and similar models at least tens of millions of dollars over just 3 to 4 years, potentially as much as $100 million. We know that McCormick falls in love with selling to Iraq, who would buy versions of the ADE 651 for as much as $40,000. Per Vanity Fair, McCormick was also giving volume discounts and paying kickbacks, according to investigators, who have also suggested that he was diverting money into offshore accounts. But whatever the precise number, McCormick was flying high, even by the lofty standards of defense contracting. When combined with sales in a dozen others, McCormick's income over 5 years approached $80 million. So he does very well off of this. And
we haven't even got to all the people that died, I assume.
No, we're getting there.
Very good.
Yeah, we're getting there. And like any guy who buys, gets suddenly rich, he's going to splurge on some rich guy purchases. He buys a $5 million house and bath with an indoor pool
of course.
and a fancy sound system.
Literally anywhere else, but...
But he bought this one from Nicolas Cage. This was Nicolas Cage's former house. You could only buy one of those. Well, I guess you probably could buy more. Yeah. But he does buy Nicolas Cage's old house and bath. He gets a vacation home in Cyprus. He buys a yacht, but he rarely uses either. Instead, his main hobby is pitching and selling this thing to new marks. Now, when you're using a bomb detector to find bombs and the bomb detector doesn't work, it's not going to take long before people start dying.
Sure.
We don't know exactly how many people get killed by this because, among other things, in the early days, whenever an ADE 651 is clearly responsible for a failure in a bomb getting through, again, the government is full of corrupt people getting kickbacks, so they just pretend that didn't happen, right? It's very easy. This is the Iraqi army. It's super easy for the company to be they're just not very good at using it. It's user error. They fucked up because they are. The Iraqi army was not very well trained. Still, during one massive wave of bombings that his detectors failed to detect in 2008, McCormick scheduled a press conference from Baghdad in which he stood with the head of Iraq's bomb squad and pitched his detector, seemingly without shame. What makes this all infuriating is that the GP200 and the other precursor devices had by this point been repeatedly tested and demonstrated as fraudulent in the UK and the United States, where they were manufactured. Per Corruption Tracker, quote, despite the fact that the devices were tested again in 2001, this time by UK Home Office scientists, and again found to be fake, the companies continue to operate and sell them, and receive promotional support from various branches of the UK government, including the Embassy in Mexico, UK Trade and Industry, who provided support for displaying the equipment at trade fairs, and members of the military who exhibited the devices. Predecessor devices had been tested and found useless by the United States' Sandia National Laboratories in 2002, and by the U.S. Navy Explosive Ordnance Disposal Technology Division in 2005. So U.S. and British soldiers in Iraq are not using these things. And part of what eventually causes a problem for these guys is that the smart U.S. and British soldiers in Iraq realize their bullshit and realize, like, wait a second, our lives are on the line by guys using these to look for bombs? Whoa! Somebody's got to do something about this. So they start pushing in 2009 to remove these things from fucking checkpoints. The BBC's Newsnight focused a special report on the matter, and regulators and law enforcement in England started gathering evidence and carrying out the early stages of an investigation.
And they're still being used at this time. Everyone's still using them.
Maybe, actually, Ed. That year, they raided James McCormick's home and took a bunch of evidence. So you'd think, well, they're probably not still selling them at that point. Right?
Yeah, because...
You'd think. So
they're
at
selling
this
them,
point,
aren't they?
a detective constable in London, Joanne Law, does attempt to stop these things from being sold anymore because they're fake. And she runs into England's export control law, which only gives the government the ability to ban military hardware and security equipment that's electronic. And since there's no electronics in these things, they can't initially be banned. The fact that they're fake protects them. Like, that's the original. They can't immediately be banned because they're not electronics.
They don't fall under...
That's unbelievable.
Hell yeah. This rocks. It's so good.
so funny. This part's not funny.
Oh, okay.
All this comes to a hideous climax in the fall of 2009 when and this is in like October, a 26-seat bus filled with a full ton of explosives rams into the Iraqi Ministry of Justice in Baghdad. Now, what happens here is a few things coming together. You've got, in 2009, the surge has just happened. The awakening has happened. This is actually a relatively peaceful period of time in Iraq, right? And so there's a drop in the number of bombings, and that convinces Prime Minister and future subject of this podcast, we'll get him, Nouri al-Maliki, to take down security measures in Baghdad, including blast walls, because things have gotten safer, and that would look good for his administration. So there's not walls up, which is part of why this is so bad, but the bombs get directly to this fucking justice building and go off, and 155 people are killed, at least. I mean, it is a massive, hideous bombing, hundreds more injured. It is hard to exaggerate how, like, one of the worst single bombings in Iraq's history, like, that gets carried out here. And a subsequent investigation finds that, per the New York Times, the bomb truck, quote, had to pass at least one checkpoint where the ADE 651 is typically deployed.
Jesus
right?
Christ.
So we know it goes through at least one checkpoint that should have had one of these things, which meant it didn't get caught. That article quotes a U.S. general saying, obviously these things don't work. We would use them if they worked. However, quote, the Iraqis believe passionately in them. Whether it's magic or scientific, what I care about is it detects bombs, said Major General Jihad al-Jabiri, head of the Ministry of the Interior's General Directorate for Combating Explosives. I don't care about Sandia or the Department of Justice or any of them, General Jabiri said. I know more about this issue than the Americans do. In fact, I know more about bombs than anyone in the world. Amazing comment. If you have met as many Iraqi army generals as I have, you know a couple of things. For one, they're all corrupt liars.
Right.
And General al-Jabiri was no exception to that rule. Shortly after that interview, the Iraqi Ministry of the Interior arrested Major General al-Jabiri on corruption charges, arguing that he'd taken bribes from McCormick. Now, the charges were dropped because it's Iraq. But you shouldn't take that too seriously. The Iraqi government was then and is now ludicrously corrupt. Harith al-Qarawi wrote about this in 2013 for an article in Al-Monitor. Quote, security-related ministries have seen the worst examples of corruption because of their huge budget allocations, poorly monitored U.S. financial support, and the urgent need to build them from scratch. There are reports by the Integrity Committee, the U.S. General Inspector in Iraq, and the Parliamentary Security and Defense Committee on the hundreds of millions wasted because of corruption in these ministries. Yet, except for a few mid- or low-level officials who found no political sponsor, all partisan senior officials managed to escape punishment or accountability. Wild!
How? I just don't see it. But I guess the justice system works over there.
It's a great justice system. The Iraqi
it's so
one,
good. Everyone's
really good.
Fine.
Really good.
Jesus fucking Christ.
You should ask the founder of ISIS what he thinks about the Iraqi. Although that was really the U.S. justice system in Iraq. Anyway, McCormick, the trees, and everyone else the British government could get their hands on were arrested in 2010. The court cases that followed found that corruption in the military was often a reason why these things were sold. A report by the U.S. Special Inspector General for Iraqi Reconstruction in 2011 estimated that 75% of McCormick's revenue was recycled to bribe military officials in multiple countries, right? Which is how he's selling all of these.
That is called a sales and marketing expense.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah. We had to bribe them to get them to buy our product. Yeah.
How else are you going to do it?
Exactly. And the corruption tracker adds, in Thailand, the device is not only allowed through real explosives, but in the south of the country, where there is an ongoing conflict with a separatist rebel group, security forces have used the devices to justify the false imprisonment of hundreds of people, according to rights groups. So it's not just people that they kill through letting bombs through. They also let governments murder, torture, and imprison people by pretending they had explosives.
These people dead?
A lot of them. A lot of people. We don't know how many. Probably thousands. Again, in Thailand, people are getting through bombs, detecting checkpoints with bombs. I have no idea how many people in total die. Iraq continues using these things at checkpoints for years afterwards. I'm not convinced there aren't any in use still, right? Now, the good news is that a lot of the bad guys in this story were sentenced for their crimes. McCormick received the maximum sentence for fraud, 10 years, and he was actually sentenced to 2 more after his release because he kept breaking the law. His assets were clawed back as much as is possible by the state, but as Vanity Fair noted, this did not spell an end to the grift. Quote, a year after McCormick's conviction, the Egyptian military began testing an apparent adaptation of McCormick's device called the CFAST, claiming it can detect both AIDS and encephalitis. Last June, 38 people were killed at Jinnah International Airport in Karachi when attackers with suicide bombs and rocket launchers got past the airport security force, which has admitted to relying on the ADE 651. Another version of the device was reportedly being used in Thailand. Mexican police looking for drugs have incorporated the device into their stop and search procedures. If they ever acknowledge that the device is a fraud, the convictions resulting from those searches would be vulnerable to litigation. In some countries, sheer corruption keeps the device in the hands of soldiers and policemen, maybe even up to the present day. And that's a beautiful story of a scam device, Ed. How you feeling?
I hate every person involved in this. I hate them so much. It's also, you're right, it has inspired me. It has totally inspired me. Because it's like the same, it's people with AI especially, they are like, well, so many smart people couldn't be wrong. Actually, they could. They could be wrong.
As a matter of fact,
die.
It happens quite often. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Yep. It's the loopholeism, right? Whenever you think, well, this guy is really smart, he couldn't get tricked. Smart people get tricked all the time.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, Ed, you want to plug anything before we roll out?
Where's Your Ed.at for my newsletter, Better Offline Podcast. You can find it on YouTube and where you find your podcast. I'm Ed Zitron. Please interact with my content. I need you to.
Excellent. Interact with Ed's content, interact with my content, and interact with yourself by getting to know yourself and loving yourself the way I probably don't love you because I've never met most of you, because that would be really hard for me to do. But, you know, in theory, I support you loving yourself unless you're a bad person. But I don't know that. Bye.
Behind the Bastards is a production of Cool Zone Media. For more from Cool Zone Media, visit our website, coolzonemedia.com, or check us out on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. Full video episodes of Behind the Bastards are now streaming on Netflix, dropping every Tuesday and Thursday. Hit Remind Me on Netflix so you don't miss an episode. For clips and our older episode catalog, continue to subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/@BehindTheBastards. We love about 40% of you, statistically speaking.
This is George Severus
and Sam Taggart
from Stradiolab. Let's be real, home comes with a lot of odors. Cooking, pets, everyday life, that's where Febreze comes in.
Febreze helps fight household odors and leaves behind freshness that lasts. And with over 30 scents to choose from, you'll always find one that feels like you.
Febreze, freshness that fits your life, your space, your style.
Febreze is a proud sponsor of the Elton John Impact Awards, honoring those who have helped shape a more inclusive and compassionate world with their artistry, advocacy, and unwavering commitment to equality.
You won't want to miss the Elton John Impact Awards podcast, available on June 1st on the iHeartRadio app and everywhere podcasts are heard.
Hi, it's Karen and Georgia from My Favorite Murder.
We cruised around LA in the Hyundai Ioniq 5 and dove into the fascinating life of actress and inventor Hedy Lamarr.
Want the full story? Take a listen.
She starts dating Howard Hughes. And in fact, she helps him design a faster plane. So she finds the fastest bird and the fastest fish and sketches out a drawing of what the two would look like as a plane. And that becomes the plane that we know today. And he calls her a genius. Check out our new episode spotlighting groundbreaking innovators like Hedy Lamarr and Billie Jean King.
Presented by the Hyundai Ioniq 5.
Goodbye.
They track, they target, prices can climb. Startpage is the private search engine that helps keep what you look up online from becoming a price tag. Try Startpage at startpage.com. That's startpage.com.
A BetterHelp ad. May is Mental Health Awareness Month. A reminder that whatever you're going through, you don't have to do it alone. Right now, most Americans are struggling. Nearly 2/3 report feeling anxious. More than half say financial stress is a major source. And even though 85% of people believe seeking support is important, many still don't take that step. That's where BetterHelp comes in. With BetterHelp, you can connect with a licensed therapist who's there with you to listen, understand, and support you on your terms. Schedule sessions conveniently via the app and talk to your therapist by video, phone, or live chat. BetterHelp matches you with a therapist who's with you through life's ups and downs. Because no journey should be alone. Sign up now and get 10% off at BetterHelp.com. That's better, HELP.com.
This is an iHeart podcast. Guaranteed Human.